So in this video, I'll be taking you through the latest developments regarding the case of Jay Slater, and in particular the GoFundMe saga, which has caused quite the heated debate online recently, Jay Slater's imminent repatriation to the UK, and I'll also be sharing with you some of my own thoughts on some of the more prominent questions that still remain in this case. Jay Slater's family hope to repatriate his body within the next 48 hours as they prepare to make the hardest journey of their lives after his GoFundMe page hit £70,000. His devastated mum, Debbie Duncan, is currently working with authorities in Tenerife to finalise the last details, which would allow Jay's body to be released. A source said officials are literally dealing with a final couple of matters, and then Jay's family will be able to take him back home and to start planning for the funeral. For Jay's family, the last few days have been horrendous. Until they get home, they don't really feel as if they can start the grieving process or the process of saying goodbye. Taking Jay's body back will be the hardest journey of their lives, but they know it's something they have to do. Their focus and aim is to give Jay the most fitting send-off possible and to celebrate and remember his life. This story comes a day after Jay's family were forced to defend themselves yet again as they came under attack from online trolls as his GoFundMe page hit an incredible £70,000. Now this topic has caused an absolute scene. Let's be perfectly honest, there are people out there who are utterly incensed at the idea of this GoFundMe doubling the original requested amount, and yet still more money is being requested. There are people out there saying, is this some kind of scam, some kind of scheme? Is this some kind of money-making exercise? But on the flip side of that, you also have people who say, well, unless you've actually put money in yourself, your opinion is null and void. Let people do with their money as they please. So I guess, as I say, it depends on which side of the fence you actually fall on here. Some people will say, as a matter of principle, I don't agree with this GoFundMe. I don't agree with funding a lavish funeral for this individual. So many different viewpoints coming out at this moment in time. But one thing that I can say, and one thing which is very, very evident to me at least, is the rabble-rousing, the absolute rabble-rousing by mainstream media here. The Mirror, missing Jay Slater GoFundMe hits milestone after mum pleads for more cash. Sky News, Jay Slater's mum asked for more fundraising support to give teen, quote, a send-off. And then finally, where will the Jay Slater GoFundMe money go? And I mean, it's quite laughable really when you have the online or mainstream media publications really sort of clamping down on this idea of the Jay Slater family are being bullied, they're being tormented by online trolls, and yet these are the very individuals who are forcing this information out there. They're really rabble-rousing, they're stoking up the fires, aren't they, in this situation to create more and more tension, which are really in a situation which doesn't require any more tension or any more upset or heartache, is actually quite a bizarre thing to see. Now, interestingly, in these mainstream articles, you'll also hear complete and utter condemnation of anyone who has anything bad to say about this situation or the family as a whole. You know, trolls are slandering the family, trolls are messaging the family X, Y, and Z. Yet the mainstream publications are, in a way, in my opinion, inciting some of this hatred. I mean, there's no need to create racy headlines such as mum pleads for more cash, GoFundMe hits £60,000, mum needs more cash. It's almost like they're inciting this in some sort of weird way and then sort of stepping back and watching what takes place. In my opinion, it's just, not a particularly good look. Let's just say that. But as I say, clearly you're going to fall on one side of the fence here. Either you believe that this isn't good on principle, the idea of the GoFundMe was a terrible idea to start with, and now it's actually doubled and you're still asking for more money. It's almost like you're bringing this on yourself in some way. I mean, a lot of people will say that. Or you believe, as I say, you have a little bit more compassion towards the family of Jay Slater and you think, hang on a minute, if you haven't put any money in yourself, then shut your trap. Now, moving on to a different topic, but still concerning the case of Jay Slater, I want to talk about what happens next. Because I've seen a lot of commentary online that really, now that Jay's body has been found, no one's going to get the answers to the many questions that people have. Why he took that route, why he went there that day, what led him to walk off into the wilderness. Yet I don't subscribe to that idea, and I'll tell you why. In my opinion, what happened that day is on his mobile phone. The reasons why he went that way are on his mobile phone. Mark Williams Thomas came out with, a quite, I wouldn't say an outlandish piece, but a piece that really stood out to the public, where he said that Jay took certain actions that morning because he was fearful for his safety, or something along those lines. And many people have thought since then, well, clearly he took this sort of strange direction. He didn't want a phone charger. He didn't want to wait for the bus. He walked off into the wilderness. And now, really, the most common thing that I'm seeing here is that he's walking towards the sea, and then he's going to walk 25 miles back along the coastline. Now, bearing in mind, this is a guy that we were told during the earliest stages of this investigation didn't even like walking to get his hair cut. Yet it's supposedly quite normal for him to walk towards the sea and then embark on a 25-mile hike. Again, for me, that's not really the most logical, quote-unquote logical, scenario here. But the information that many people need, the answers to the questions that many people have, are in that phone, are in that handset. Now, the Spanish police haven't said whether they've recovered or they haven't recovered Jay Slater's mobile phone. They also haven't discussed the supposed stolen watch, whether that was on his person or not. So, Spanish police aren't going to give us any more. Now, if they are indeed in possession of Jay Slater's mobile phone, I believe that could still tell us quite a lot about what took place during the early morning hours in Masca. We were told, as I mentioned earlier, that Jay was in fear for his life. He had communicated with a number of individuals that morning, and I believe that handset needs to be interrogated fully by a proper expert, not by the police, but by an independent data recovery expert. They need to try and find the sent and received messages. They need to retrieve those messages if they possibly can. Anything that's been deleted off that handset, Snapchat messages, WhatsApp messages, voicemails, sent and received calls. Match them up to the cell site data. Does everything make sense in terms of where he was heading that day? All that sort of stuff can be told simply by his mobile phone. And again, at this point in time, we don't know. We don't know whether they do actually have it or whether they don't. But if they do, I still feel there's a really good chance here that the family can try and piece together exactly what took place during that morning. Was he sending texts to his friends saying that he was scared? Was he giving the impression to any of those individuals that he was fearful for his safety? Was he heading in a certain direction for a certain purpose? Was there a reason why he wasn't waiting for the bus? Did he tell any of his friends that? Are they able to retrieve any sort of messages which can give a clearer indication as to why Jay took the steps he did on that fateful morning? Now, quickly before I finish this video, I also saw from one of the Netherlands search team another rather bizarre statement which came out earlier today or yesterday regarding Jay Slater's last known location. And this lady, and bearing in mind she's part of the search team here, she said, well, Jay was heading down towards the sea and then he would have walked home. That was the shortest route. Now, I just can't get my head around this. I can't get my head around people saying he's walking towards the sea. Yes, he's walking towards the sea. And then what is he going to do? Walk 25 miles back to his apartment? We were told during the earliest stages of this case that this guy wouldn't even walk to the sweet shop, let alone 25 miles to his apartment. So the everlasting question in this case is what led Jay Slater to leave that Airbnb in the state he was in? Was it just a simple case that he wanted to get out of there? It wasn't exactly that much fun anymore and he wanted to be back with his friends. Or was it the case that he turned down the charger? He turned down the bus. He walks off in the completely opposite direction and then he walks off into the wilderness beyond because for some reason he was fearful about something. Again, I feel all of those answers, or a good portion, I should say, of those answers remain within that handset. Whether that handset has been recovered, that is yet to be determined. Anyway, leave your own thoughts and theories down in the comment section below. I look forward to seeing you all again for the next one. Take care. Cheers.